How's the American economy doing? Really? First, it was heading for a recession. Then it was too hot. Unemployment is down, that's good. Prices are still rising, that's bad. Interest rates are up. Stocks are at record highs, though only inflation adjusted. Adding to the mixed indicators, it's an election year, so we all want to kill each other. And while the country's economic health is front and center, there is a strong political interest in making things seem better or making them seem worse.
Now our economy is literally the envy of the world. 15 million new jobs in just 3 years. Wages keep going up, inflation keeps coming down.
We are a nation whose economy is collapsing into a cesspool of ruin.
When you look at the world's post-COVID recovery, Biden is right. America's an outlier. U.S. GDP grew faster than any other advanced economy last year. Wages are up. Inflation is falling. Unemployment's been under 4% for the longest stretch since the 1960s. Yet most Americans agree with Trump. Only 28% have a positive view of the economy. That's just 13% of Republicans, and it's less than half of Democrats. Voters consistently say it's the top issue for 2024. So why do they disagree? Don't underestimate the psychological impact of high inflation. Unlike unemployment or stock prices, inflation affects every single American. Teenagers, blue-collar workers, retirees. It's also sticky. The rates come down, but it's still higher than it was 5 years ago. Don't get me started on the price of chocolate chip cookies, up 44% from 2019. So much for more cookies. But something else is happening. Consumer sentiment is lower now than it was in the mid-70s, when inflation was higher and lasted longer. Some economists are calling this current moment a vibe-cession because Americans' economic views seem to be based on feelings rather than hard data. Environmental factors like reduced foot traffic in cities and higher crime rates can make it feel like the economy is doing worse than it actually is. And grocery prices are still high, which doesn't represent the overall economy, but has a much stronger emotional impact than, say, the price of industrial steel or crude oil. But the current economic mood isn't just vibes, man. It's harder to get a loan than it was 5 years ago. Housing, most Americans' biggest expense, is up 22% for renters and over 40% for buyers, making everything else more expensive. The good news for Democrats is consumer confidence has been rising since its low back in 2022, and there might be enough time to close the gap between expectation and reality before the election. The problem is that Biden's approval rating is taking a beating, and what should be his greatest strength is dragging him down. If the president can find a way to convince voters of the strength of America's economic recovery and not focus on his age or immigration, it might be his best shot at holding the White House.